Aloha! We're going to go through the Hawaii real estate purchase contract from the beginning to the end so you can understand what you're agreeing to and what it means step by step.
Come away with Annie to Kauai.
Life is short. Buy the beach house. Live the dream. The very beginning, you're going to put in the property address, the tax map key, meaning the tax ID code of the property, and the reference date. The reference date indicates the day this contract began. Throughout the rest of the contract, we have sections, starting with a letter, ending with a number, to segment out the different sections of the contract. Section A is agency. There's section A1 and A2. In section A1, it describes agency, what it is, what the duties of an agent are, and what the responsibilities are. It is important to understand that agency is not implied. A real estate agent only has agency when you've signed a contract with them. So if there's no signed contract indicating that they're your agent, they're not your agent. You also have the option to represent yourself in the state of Hawaii. So one option would be to have no agent representing you. There is a seller's agent, a buyer's agent, and there's dual agency. The seller's agent only represents the seller. A buyer's agent only represents the buyer. Dual agency represents both the buyer and the seller. In A2, you indicate what's happening in this purchase contract, right? As a seller, do you have your own real estate agent? As a buyer, who's your agent? Is there dual agency, meaning is the same agent representing both the seller and the buyer, or is there no representation? It's important for you to understand that if there is not a written agreement for agency, you do not have agency, right? So if you're talking to someone about the price of your home and you don't have a legal contract with them, they have no obligation to be discretionary with that information. So you want to be careful. You want to make sure you're working with someone you trust, and you want to make sure that you're not disclosing information to anyone that isn't acting as your agent. For example, you don't want to be getting along with one of them and disclose what your bottom line is and not hire that person. They could be back in your house in a few months representing a buyer where they are legally obligated to do everything in their buyer's best interest, not in your interest. So until you have an agency agreement, you want to keep pertinent information confidential or to yourself. Section B of the purchase contract is earnest money. When you agree to buy a property and the buyer and seller come to an agreement on terms, you are going to have to put some earnest money at the title company during what we call escrow. Escrow is the period between the time you have an accepted offer and you close and purchase or sell that property, right? So earnest money indicates that you are earnestly trying to buy the property, that you have a little skin in the game. It indicates when you will deliver that earnest money to the title company. The most common way for delivering earnest money to the title company in Hawaii is through a wire transfer. We often write that you will have 3 business days to get the earnest money from your bank to the title company's bank from the time you have an accepted offer. Section C of the purchase contract is about what you are offering. Section C1 says, I'm making an offer on your property and you have the next blank amount of hours to accept, reject, or counter. It's common in Hawaii to put 36, 48, and 72 hours for a response time from a seller. Section C2 of the purchase contract tells the seller how much money you're willing to pay for their property. The purchase price can generally be broken up into 3 different amounts. Your earnest money, which is part of your down payment, the rest of your down payment, and the amount of the loan that you're getting. So you add those 3 up, that's the amount that you're offering to buy the property for. Section T talks about if there's any addendums attached to the purchase contract. A common example of that would be the lead-based paint addendum. Another couple of common ones would be an as-is addendum, indicating you're purchasing it in as-is condition, or a 1031 exchange. There are many other addendums that you can add to a purchase contract, but this section D is where you're going to indicate what those addendums are.